Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chart Your Climb, the show that brings you the stories of extraordinary journeys. Today, we have an interesting guest who charted her climb from the streets of Ahmedabad to the prestigious halls of IIM Indore and all the way to a global consulting giant, Bain Company. But here's the thing, Anushka is not just a success story. She's a card carrying member of Gen Z, the generation that can research a multi billion dollar company stock portfolio on one screen and binge watch a show on the other screen. She is the generation that grew up with internet in their pockets. But here's the thing which I like about this generation: they are all about being authentic, and they are all trying to make a real impact. And Anushka is a prime example of that hustle. Please give a huge virtual welcome to Anushka. Anushka, thank you for joining us. How are you
Thank
doing
you.
today?
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to this interview.
Great to have you, Anushka. So let's start at the beginning. You grew up in Ahmedabad. Can you tell us a little bit about your life there and how that city's unique energy shaped your early ambitions and then your undergrad story as well?
Yeah. So I was born and brought up in Ahmedabad, and I think my entire life has been in Ahmedabad in Gujarat till I joined my B school. So after my school, I joined computer engineering in Gandhinagar, and after that, after some years, of course, I realized that yeah, what I want to do as a career, and thus MBA. But I think what really interested me, how Ahmedabad helped me, is because I think we all know that Gujarat is known for the business, like business people, and Gujaratis are known for that, and that has always been in back of my mind as well. And in the corporate world and everything has always excited me, fascinated me, and so yeah, that is something that has always been one of my important parts of my life because of growing in Ahmedabad. So yeah.
Great. No, great. So you mentioned that you did your graduation in engineering in computer science. So was that in Ahmedabad as well?
Yeah, so it was in Gandhinagar,
Gandhinagar.
just, yeah, 20-30 kilometers from Ahmedabad. And so, yeah, it's the same thing for me.
Yeah. And at what time during your engineering did the idea of MBA, from a top tier institution come across your mind? Because I remember, to me, it came to my mind in the final year of my engineering. But these days things are different. So was it a clear goal that you had, or more of a gradual realization that you had in the final years?
So I think it was I was in a quite similar situation as yours. So initially, in my head, I was prepped that I would go for an MS in the US or something like that. But I think after second or third year, I did some non-technical internships. I spoke to people, my seniors, and I think that realization came that I wanted to do an MBA. And of course, I was not clear about how the career would go because there are so many options after you do an MBA. But it was clear in my head that I wanted to get into corporate, into the business side. And I think it was around, yeah, my third year or fourth year that, yeah, I was quite sure that I want to get into a top tier B school. And, my aim was always getting into Blackie. And as we all call it. And I think, yeah, I achieved it after, a little bit of hard work. And yeah, so that's how it was.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So first step is the realization, and then the next step is the mountain in itself, right? The CAT exam.
Yes.
So can you walk us through your preparation? Did you go for any coaching, or was it a self-study game? And what was your secret to tackle verbal ability, data interpretation, the strategy part of it, right?
So it was actually a mix of both. I just took the online crash courses kind of thing where these were weekend classes for 1 or 2 hours where they would just go through the main concepts which were important, how to solve them quickly, because that is something that it's all time based. CAT is all about utilizing that time. Anyone can solve those questions if given 2-3 days, but it's all about putting all your head, your mind in those 2 hours and getting the answer. So I think those 2 hours of weekend classes, they helped me solve those problems quickly. And other than that, I think my engineering and my interest in math came in handy with quants. And and yeah, so it was basically a mix of both, and I usually targeted mocks and practice tests. So that is something that was an important part of my preparation, because through mocks and practice tests you realize that where you are lagging, because at the end it's all about the pressure game of the day. And so during mocks I always sat in a room with that kind of situation, like pressure is created and this is going to be the cat test, and I used to give it with that much attention and matlab, sincerity. So yeah, that was a major part. And talking about VARC, uh, firstly, editorials, reading anything and everything. Just you can read a Harry Potter book to get into the habit, or anything. Just get into the habit of reading. Getting into that habit was important. And I used to read like random novels, fiction books, and whatever came in handy. And I used to religiously read editorials from the newspapers,
Yes.
and like the Economic Times and all those newspapers, because their editorials are very much similar to how the comprehensions are in the VRC section. So that helped me. And one of my strategies that I would actually want to share was, and I think it is like a lot of people have different strategies, but what I used was the elimination method. Like whenever you read comprehension, you just go back to the questions, read the options, and if you think that this is so entirely not related to what's in the passage, you just eliminate it, and then you just get one option that that seems a little correct as compared to the other three. So that is something that actually helps. And so yeah, that was my strategy with BARC. Talking about DILR, it always comes with a lot of practice. DILR is something that you just can't like crack on the day, because it's always different compared to, like, if I solve a question today, a lot of questions today, it's not going to be the same at the in the CAT exam. It's always different. It's always a level up compared to the previous years. And so practicing mock tests, and that's how I just managed to come to a strategy on how I would go about solving questions. Like if there are 4 sets, I would choose one that seems a little easy. Start with that and try to complete 2 of them at least, or 2.5, to get above the average level. And yeah, of course, I mean, and then again, like, keeping your calm on the days, of course, the strategy.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Right. So that's a solid advice. I mean, practicing, taking mock tests, and reading for verbal ability. I also remember that we used to have a competition amongst us, that how many novels or books have you read? Right. You mentioned that. I remember it was people were reading 70 novels in like 6 months or something like that. But editorials also very, very important. Thanks for highlighting that. And elimination strategy, I've heard that from others as well. So very, very important points there. Now you get the score. Okay, now let's come to, you get the score, then comes the next hurdle, the interviews, the GDPI process. I'm not sure what is the process today in today's date, but I remember that it was super intimidating for all of us who were trying to get into top B schools, right? So what's your advice on cracking the group discussions at personal interviews and getting into the IIMs?
Yeah. So, firstly, talking about group discussions, of course, being an engineer, it was entirely new for me, because in engineering, you also know that it never happens. Like, I mean, it was entirely new for me. I didn't even know how to start. But then I realized that just putting your point quality answers is what the interviewer is looking for. So people, they tend to answer frequently, just try to come, just to highlight themselves, and they just answer aggressively. That is, I believe that interviewers are not looking for that. And so basically, even if so, it has happened to me that in one of the interviews, I didn't even know what the topic was. I had never heard of that term that they had used. But then I actually listened to the first 2 speakers who started the group discussions, and then I just you know came up with some points, something that something things which I knew, and things that matched with what they were saying, and I just came with a quality answer. And I gave like 2 3 points in the discussion, and I tried to end it as well. So it's like, if you start or end the group discussion, it's always good. Of course, you highlight yourself, you actually come into the eyes of the interviewers. But then giving quality answers is again what they are looking for. So it's not like you have to you have to like be in the group discussion frequently and aggressively and cut out others. It's more about the mutual respect, or the respect that you give to others, and not cutting them out, and just you know being in a calm discussion is what all the interviews I are looking for. So that's how I tackled my GDs. And talking about the personal interviews, I think majorly it's all about confidence. This is something that I have realized in all my interviews, that you just need to answer everything with confidence. And even if you're not sure, just confidently tell them and not waste their time. Like if you're not sure about a topic, just let them know. Of course, even they are not expecting you to know everything, because coming from an engineering background, of course, they would ask me a lot of questions related to uh, business side, maybe expecting me to be prepped with it. But sometimes people are not, and I would just like tell them I really need to look into that, and I would make sure that I would come up with an answer if we meet someday. And that's how I used to tackle those questions. But otherwise, PI is all about being confident, knowing what you have submitted in your resume, or whatever they have in their hands. Like some colleges, they have some B schools, they have the profile in their hand, like your projects, internships, and a previous job in some cases. So they would actually ask questions from that resume only. They don't have anything else to know about. So so you really need to know your resume by heart, and you need to justify each and every statement that you give. And that's how I tackled all my resume based questions. Secondly, if you forget to add something in your resume while you are submitting, and then you recall afterwards, and something that is unique about you, so that should be included in your introduction. So when you're introducing yourself, just make sure that you highlight that point so that the interviewer picks it up. And usually they do, because if it is something different from what's not in your resume, then they will definitely like want to know more about it. And you can just flow with whatever you just let them know what else beyond your academics, and what is there in the resume, and that can impress them, or break the ice initially.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. That's super important to have something unique that they can recollect, and then remember you after they move out of the room, or after they are in a panel discussion, right? So having something unique, being confident, very critical points. Super smart strategy in GD as well, which you mentioned, that if you are not aware of that topic, then just wait for others to start, and then you can chime in. So that was smart as well. So okay. So GDPI done. You made it. You made it to IIM Indore. What was your initial experience in IIM Indore, and how did the atmosphere and the case study based learning prepare you for the corporate world?
Okay, so as soon as my parents left me on the campus, I realized that this was the first time in my life I had I don't know anyone in the campus, because in my school, as I stayed in my school from junior KG to 12th, and then my college, I had friends from school, my society. So everywhere I had some people I knew, but then at I am Indore, everything was new. I really met all my friends; they were new people, and now so we really catch up frequently. We try to, but the first meet is always just going upfront, and just sharing stories, and that's how my initial days were. And then bank came in the classes and the late night placement talks, and then everything just went downhill after that, because it's so new. And being an engineer, finance, economics, and all those subjects really hit me hard. But then again, I approached my friends from finance backgrounds. They used to teach me. I used to teach them maths related topics, or anything that was analytics based. And yeah, that's how you start with your friendships at a B school. And of course, talking about the case based studies, it is something that I loved because we used to we used to read cases before the classes, and we came up with our own analysis about that case, or how an outcome can be changed based on changes in the strategy. And then we used to discuss the same in the class. And I think listening to everyone else's opinions and changes and strategies and everything, I was really like I was shocked, literally, to be honest, that this can be this is how a case can be solved. Like I never thought about it, and yeah, so it was very exciting to go in a class, marketing classes, strategy classes, even finance classes. All of them, they were all based on cases. So I love how IIMs and all the other B schools, they follow this case based methods, and I am always ready to just go in a class and discuss cases. So yeah, that's something that any person who joins a B school will enjoy for sure.
Right, right. I also remember that especially after engineering, you are introduced to subjects like, finance and economics. And I remember in my days where there used to be an open book test, which was something new for us engineers. Like, what the hell is an open book test? And even in that open book test, we were finding it very difficult to find the answers. That was completely new, but it was all about teamwork and getting things done. You have to do it. You have to do it, and this is the deadline. So you have to work with people from diverse backgrounds and get things done. Basically, that's what uh, matters at the end of the day. And case studies, that's a great point as well. And speaking of case studies, let's talk about the B School case competitions as well. You won some big ones like the Accenture B School Challenge. How did participating in and winning these challenges directly impact your placement journey? Did they give you an edge in getting those pre-placement interviews?
Yes. So a lot of case competitions happen as soon as you join your B school, and I actually missed some of them because I was so new to it. I didn't know how everything works. But from my friends, that I know, some of them won the Accenture B School Challenge in the first term only, and then they got a PPI, and then they converted it, and then they got a direct summer internship at Accenture Consulting, like consulting and strategy, which is huge actually. And then they have HUL case competitions as well, which give you a direct path to the PPIs. And for me, this actually helped me after my second year, after my summer internship. When I came back to the campus, I participated in Accenture B School Challenge, and then I won the case. I won the campus round, and I think because I got a PPO, it was not like it directly helped me because, of course, I had a PPI, but then I already had a PPO from my summer internship. But I saw my friends, their resumes, the level of their resume increased like tenfolds because Accenture B School Challenge is one of the biggest case competitions, and winning that, it really helps you in your resume and in your shortlisting. So any kind of case competition, I think I really urge people, or anyone who joins B School, they should definitely try it because the cases, they're actually close to how a business or how businesses actually solve problems, how client actually comes up with problems when it comes to consulting, and it really helps you expand your thinkings, and perform well in your interviews as well, and of course getting an edge in front of others because you have big names in your resume. So of course you have an edge over others. So I think case competitions, they definitely help you in your placements, be it SIPs or panel placements.
Excellent, excellent. Now let's talk about the big one, the placements. Right? You mentioned how this challenge is also important. Lots of people do internships and convert it into offers. But the entire season, right? The placement season is a mix of excitement and anxiety. I remember in my time, things moved very, very fast, and sometimes we did not even know which companies to apply for. How to prepare for banking, retail, tech. We had no idea about how to create different resumes for these companies. We were just going there, appearing for interviews, and we're ready to take any offer which was given to us because that was a recession time. But anyways, how to prepare for those placement season, and how was the placement season like? What were your first steps is something that I think the audience would love to know.
So I think this is an important one because this is something that usually happens in the first term itself. So the summer placements. And I remember that as soon as before we entered the B school, it was, I think, first week of July. Before that, our seniors, they approached us, the placement prep cell, and they asked us to prepare our resumes. And we didn't realize how important it was, because as soon as you get into a B school, it's important to have approved mails for all the pointers that you add in your resume, because it's an important step before the companies come for placements. So prepping your resume and quantifying each and every point as much as possible, like and showing what impact you had put for that particular resume line is the most important thing. And I think resume prep is the most important part of your placement journey, I believe, because it's more about how. So it's basically how you will get shortlisted. So I've seen people, they try to diversify their resumes. For example, for marketing, it's more about keeping it like bottom heavy. Your extracurriculars should, they should be more in comparison to your academics. Of course, it's important, but you should have a diverse background. That's what I'm speaking about. And talking about finance or consulting, they need a balanced resume or a top heavy resume where your academics, they come out more. And because companies are looking for those kind of people, so you need to be prepared on what kind of companies you want to apply for. First, you need to set your mind there. Of course, in the first term, no one knows where they want to go. Even, for me, initially being an engineer, I was also confused on like about if I whether I want to go into marketing, gen man, or consulting strategy. So I think it takes time. Of course, no one is ready for that. People with finance background, a lot of times they are, because they have in their heads that they have to get into finance, investment banking, and all those kind of companies. But for engineers or for people who come from, a non MBA background, they know that it's a little hard. So it's just prepping that way is important. You need to have all kind of pointers in your resume ready and get it approved and have all the proofs ready and just get all your certificates, be it, winning a dance competition at a national level or anything like that. Everything, it just adds color to your resume. Basically, that's what I'm talking about. So resume preparation was a major part. Speaking with seniors is the second part, as to how this kind of resume would get into what kind of companies, and what are the questions that the recruiters asks. So uh, our seniors, of course, they know a lot of things because they went through the same process the previous year, so they helped a lot. And of course, then if you are getting into a consulting, if you want to get into, if you get into a consulting or strategy firm, or if you get shortlist from those kind of companies, then case prep is something that comes in handy. Of course, this is something that you have to literally start as soon as you join your B school, because you don't have that much time. But firstly, though, you will have to understand how case solving, like you have to figure out how that is done. And then practicing it takes like months, and 1 or 2 months to at least it takes. And then getting your like hands dirty in each and every kind of case, like revenue, profit, M&A, different kinds of cases, it is important. So that's how I prepped. In my case, this is how I did. Like, I got my resumes iterated as early as possible. I spoke to my seniors who had a similar kind of resume and similar interests and similar interest, and their internships were also similar to the kind of companies I was targeting. So I spoke to them and the questions that they were asked, and I prepped that way. And I used to prep. My resume prep is, again, of course, very important. You have to highlight points, something that you want the interviewer to ask you. So all of those things are, of course, important. Something that I did that got me this job. So yes.
Excellent. That is super insightful. And now that we know that you received an offer from Bain and Company, a top tier consulting firm. Uh, I remember MBB. That's what you call, right? McKinsey, Bain, and BCG. That was the ultimate goal for a lot of us who wanted to work in consulting. So, how did you specifically prepare for consulting interviews? I know the process is rigorous, but can you describe briefly the interview process with Bain? Was it as challenging as they say?
Yes, it definitely is. Like, you have to be ready with any kind of case that they might throw at your face, because it's literally random. It can be, I remember that I was prepping for a case, and it was literally asked in an MBB interview only from books. So there are case books which are available from Blackie or any other B schools, which are actually available online. You should actually use those books to prep for your cases, because it is something that is going to be there in your SIPs. So case prep through those case books, understanding the frameworks. There are various kind of frameworks. Venue, profit, cost, that is one kind of framework. M&A is a kind of framework, and cost analysis and all those things, like, they are important, because that is something a recruiter is looking for, how structured your answer is. And I think everyone can actually solve a case, but structuring it in a way that basically impresses the recruiter is the job that we have to do at the end. So a case prep was something that I usually did. And secondly, I think, talking about the Bain's process and the other consulting process, it's of course case based. And they usually, so for me, they asked a case, and then mostly, so there is one more component which is called guesstimate. It's usually getting a number from whatever question they asked. And for me, it was like, since I was in IIM Indore, and they asked me where, like, do you know any other place in MP? So I said Bhopal, because my mom is from Bhopal. So they said, okay, tell me how many buses travel every day from Indore to Bhopal. This was the question that they asked, and this is something that is usually called a guesstimate. That I have to come up with a number, and they actually see how structurally I come to that number, and what is my method and everything. I knew. So basically, you have to be aware of the things that are like guesstimates. Again, they are usually asked from your resume. Like, if they mention that they read books, and so a random questions can be, how many bookstores do you think are there in India? And so you can, come up with a number by, the frequency, or how, if a metro city, they might have more number of bookstores, and then basically giving them a ratio, any other, the kind of tiers. So that is something we solve a guesstimate. So for me, sorry, and I will come back to my question. So Indore to Bhopal, so I knew that the frequency of buses, it was, I think, in every 20 minutes there was one bus. So I basically brought it down to a number on a daily basis, and then I added commercial buses, personal buses as well. And then I came up with a number which I think satisfied the recruiter. He had a number in his mind, and then it's something that was similar uh, to the one that I said. And the basically the structure I used was something that I had been preparing during my case preps and my guesstimate preps. So that helped me. And finally, I think, since my role is basically analytics, and a lot of it majorly comes with data crunching, data analytics, and my projects and my background being in computer, I think that fascinated my recruiter, and therefore he asked me a lot of questions based on my resume. I think 15 minutes of the discussion was based on one particular project, and I think that gave away, like, the entire, like, interview, because I think they are looking for people who are suited for that role. And if you are able to take your interview in that road or in that direction with your skills, I think that basically attracts the recruiter. And I did that same through my introduction, as I already mentioned, how you need to bring up those points. And so yeah, basically prepare. So being alert, and just hearing what they're asking is something that, again, you have to be sure, make sure that you are doing. And preparing well, knowing your resume, is something that I followed and helped me with Bain's process.
That is very important, and that's quite similar to the process at Google as well. I remember a few years ago, it need not be the right answer, but it's all about breaking down the problem and giving it a structure, giving your response a structure. That's what they look for. And yeah, so congratulations, you made it there, and it was super insightful once again. So Anushka, what's your biggest takeaway from this entire journey? Right, we talked about Ahmedabad undergrad, preparing for CAT, and then getting into IIM Indore, and then getting into Bain and Company. For the 23 to 28-year-olds, for the audience who are watching this, who are maybe in a small town with big dreams, what's your number one piece of advice?
I think self confidence and believing in yourself. This is something that I I've always like believed in. Of course, initially, even I had doubts when I was preparing for CAT. When a mock didn't go well, I felt depressed, and it was like, how am I going to crack CAT if I'm getting this kind of score? But then I believing in yourself and just preparing hard, and there were people who were preparing with me, so helping them out or reaching out for help. Again, this is the second point, that you should always be, you shouldn't shy away from reaching out for help. Like in my B school, for example, I had to reach out to my friends who were from finance background, like eco background, to get my doubts cleared. And then, not being there for them is again the second thing that you have to do. And so basically, yeah, being there for others, and not shying away from asking questions, from asking help, and believing in yourself. I think all these things, they have helped me become who I am today, and I think I'm going to follow this always. So I think, and for everyone who is preparing for CAT and they are looking forward to this kind of corporate life, and getting into a B school, all these things are really important, because it's all about the connections and the friends that you make at the end, because they are going to stay for a long time. And so the first thing that you have to do is just go and talk to them, ask for help if you need, and just save them if they are in trouble. And that's how, yeah, it's going to help you for sure.
Amazing. It has been a great experience to host you on Chart Your Climb today. And I wish you all the best in your career, Anushka. I'm sure you will do well. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing your incredible journey with us. It's truly inspiring, as I said, for our audience. And that's a wrap on this episode of Chart Your Climb. We hope Anushka's story inspires all of you to start your own climb. Until next time, keep chasing those big dreams. I'll see you soon. And thank you once again, Anushka. Thank you for your time.